Good morning. Leprosy is a very serious skin disease during the time of Jesus. It is very serious because once you are infected by it, you are removed from the community. You will be, in our term last year, you will be quarantined. You are considered outcast. Socially and religiously, you will be isolated because you are considered dirty and dangerous to be with. So suffice it to say, nobody wants to be with lepers. Nobody wants to be associate themselves with the lepers because being with them is like a suicide. Because their presence is risky, their presence is deadly, and it's a threat to your life. That's why if you have a leprosy, if you are a leper, it is their tradition that you should put something that make noise. You put bell in your neck, in your waist to make noise, to signal people that you are coming, and you tell people, stay away from me. Stay away from me. I'm unclean. I'm dirty. Stay away so that you will not be, you will not be contaminated. That's why keeping your distance from them is the only safest way to do. We have the term last year, social distancing. Keep away. Distance yourself. But Jesus, in today's gospel, did something extraordinary. The gospel says, moved with pity, Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him. Touched him. Jesus knew that touching a leper will make him ritually unclean. But his compassion is more powerful than what the law prescribed. He goes beyond the law because for Jesus, the greatest law is love. Compassion, move with pity. Nowadays, we don't have leprosy issues, literally speaking. However, even if there's no leprosy in our community, in our world, there are countless number of people suffering from isolation. We don't have leprosy, but there's so many people isolated. Nobody wants to be with them. Perhaps we are one of them. Good number of individuals were ignored, they were avoided, they were neglected, they were isolated, and nobody paid them visit. Nowadays, many children wants to be isolated from their parents. And many parents too distance themselves from their parental responsibility. Many individuals were isolated perhaps because of different reasons. Perhaps we are isolated because we are angry and we don't like to associate with someone. We are isolated most probably because of our beliefs. Maybe because of our bias. I am good, you are not. Or perhaps we are isolated because of our addictions, because of our sin, because of our opinion. Isolation is the modern leprosy. People don't like to associate. And even in our parish community, I think this is the problem. So many were isolated. They don't like to associate with the community. Few people are going back to the community, even in our church. There are so many seniors now in seniors' home who are forgotten by their family members. They were isolated. Sick people in the hospital. Prisoners in the jail. What's the challenge this morning? The gospel is challenging us, like Jesus, reach out. And if possible, touch them. When was the last time you hugged someone? When was the last time you tapped someone's shoulders? Moved with pity, Jesus stretched out his hands. We ignore people. We don't like to associate with them. Friends, my dear parishioners, people of Malay, do not be comforted in living a life invisibly. The quarantine period is over. The lockdown is over. It's time to go out. When to do that? When is the best time? The first reading says, today. Today. Not tomorrow, not later, not next year, not next month. Today. If you hear the voice of God, harden not your hearts. Today is the right time to approach the one you have been avoided and ignored in your life. Because they have leprosy, because they were sick, they are condemned. You are outcast. You don't belong to us. Stay away from us. You are a threat. You are a danger. We condemn people. Condemnation. That's their cure before. But Jesus is telling us in today's gospel, the cure, the medicine to so many isolation is not condemnation, but compassion. Move with pity. That's what the gospel says. The cure to so many isolations is not condemnation, but compassion. Compassion is the solution, not condemnation. Let me end my reflection with this saying. Away from Jesus, life away from God, is the greatest and saddest isolation man can experience. When you are away from the Lord, when your life is away from God, that is the greatest isolation. And what is our job? Today, let us bring them back to Jesus. Touch them with your presence and invite them to come to the Lord.